せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっともっと
こんにちは皆さん。
Hello and welcome back to our podcast where we talk about all things related to
Pop
culture. With me Hafiz and my partner Misha.
Hey everyone! Yes, so today, as you guys probably can guess already, we're going to dive into an interesting part of Japanese pop culture, which are weebs and otakus.
Before we start, let's talk a bit about Japanese pop culture. Japanese pop culture includes all of what normal pop culture have, which are Japanese cinema, manga, video games, music, and all of which retain all the artistic and literary traditions.
Yes, Hafiz, started since 1980s from the government, the creation of Kuru Japan, the soft power image emerged, and Japan began to sell its pop culture as its new non-military image in order to promote its own culture and re-establish a healthy and peaceful diplomacy with other nations. So, if we're talking about weebs and otakus, anime will immediately come to mind. Anime nowadays has spread across all over the world and managed to garner such popularity that almost all modern people know about it. And who do we thank that for, Hafiz?
It's all thanks to the fathers of anime, which were the first generation of animators in the late 1910s, which included Oten Shimokawa, Junichi Koichi, and Seitaro Kitayama, which is said by Stella Yuan from Carnegie Mellon University. The history of anime can actually be traced way back to the 20th century, which the earliest verifiable films dating from 1970. We are not even born yet.
Wow, that's fascinating. Now, anime is distributed in all platforms that are possible. It varies from original works to adaptations of manga, light novels, or video games. The anime industry in Japan consists of over 430 production companies, including major studios such as Studio Ghibli, Kyoto Animation, and Toei Animation. It has numerous genres targeting various broad and niche audiences.
Weeps and otakus. But before we dive into that, let's listen to what the locals have to say about them.
ゲーム、
アニメとか
アイドルとか。
ちょっと古いかもしれないですけど、秋葉原とかでいるような、なんかリュック背負って眼鏡かけて、でちょっと小太りでチェックシャツ着てるようなのを想像しますが、でも友達とか見てるとそんな感じじゃないので、まあ多様だから一応に言えないなと思います。
アニメとか特に見てる人が多いんで、見た目だけじゃ判断はできないかなと思いますね。
服とかよりももうなんかその好きなものっていうイメージ、お金のかけ方がそっちに行ってるから他は二の次っていうイメージあります。
ネクラそうな感じですか。僕はいいイメージがあると思う。お金を落とす人ってなかなかそういないので、そういうことで経済が回るし、そういう熱中することを持つっていうことはすごい大事なことだと思うので、いいことだとは思います。
そうですね、自分の周りでも割とオタクの人友達が多いんですけど、みんな優しくていい人が多いんで、自分としてはいいイメージがありますね。
俺はいいイメージがありますね。やっぱその物事に一個に集中できるっていうのはなんかもう僕はそのできないんで、それについては本当にすごいと思います。
自分はなんか偏見入るんですけど、悪いイメージもあって、なんかそのことに熱くなりすぎて、なんかちょっとこういろいろこう人と厄介事で、なのでなんか一概にいいとは言えなくて、なんか熱狂的なファンがライブでちょっとやらかして怪我させちゃったとか結構聞くので、そういうとこを見るとなんかいい面だけではないなっていう感じはしますね。
普通に共存共存してます。
Oh, wow, those answers were quite thought-provoking if I can say so myself.
Very much so indeed. But how does it all relate? Well, first we need to learn the term Japanophilia. Have you ever heard of that, Misha?
Oh no, I've never heard of it.
So, Japanophilia refers to the act of holding a strong interest in Japanese culture, the people, and its history. In Japanese, the term for a Japanophile is Shinnichi, with Shin means pro and Nichi means Japan. It practically just screams nationalism.
I see. Now that's dedication.
Mm-hmm. Yes, moving on to our main topic for today. What exactly is a weeboo? Weeboo or weebs for short is a Japanophile-like person that is mostly obsessed with manga and anime, sometimes superiorize it over other cultures. The terms have been thought to be from the webcomic The Perry Bible Fellowship.
Well, the word weeb has also seen increased usage on the internet in recent years.
That's true, Misha. As the excerpts just now show, weeboos are considered outsiders who have a strong appreciation for many facets of Japanese culture, which includes to dress, eat, and literally live as a Japanese person. If you're just a casual fan of anime and enjoy the occasional manga, that's perfectly fine. But if you start wearing cosplay outfits and speaking Japanese all the time, then you might be crossing the line into weeb territory.
Yeah, I agree. Now let's talk about otakus. Otakus is a Japanese term that refers to someone who is a fan or enthusiast of anything that is culture related, as backed up in the interviews with the locals. While the term has its own roots in Japan, it has since spread around the world and is now used by people all nationalities who are interested in Japanese pop culture. The term originally had a negative connotation, but it since has been embraced by many as a badge of honor.
And fun fact, there are many famous otakus in Japan who have become successful in their fields. For example, one of the most successful artists in Japan, Eiichiro Oda, is known for his work, which is One Piece.
I believe now we can kind of get the idea of what exactly they are. It may seem harmless, but there's actually a dark side to them.
But Misha, that side can be cool sometimes, no?
Unfortunately, Hafiz, not this one. Now, some people, like the local Japanese, may likely say, well, they're just a fan of something. The actual main concern for weebs and otakus is that weebs are mostly a person with an unhealthy obsession with the Japanese culture, whereas an otaku can be seen as someone who studies intensely of something. Isn't that right, Hafiz?
That's correct. A weeboo can be defined by their lack of social boundaries and an unhealthy obsession with Japanese culture. The label is meant to be slighting them, but over time they have embraced it as an identity label. Otakus, however, lack a healthy outlook on their life. The lack of social intelligence can hurt their mental development and ability to live a fulfilled life. Hence, why if we take a look at Hofstede culture metaphor, we might understand them.
Okay.
So, Japan is generally considered a high context culture. This actually includes the otakus, meaning people communicate based on inherent understanding. It's like a situation where you are expected to know that your friend commenting on the size of your earrings is a cue to rethink the jewelry.
Yes, that's right, Hafiz. However, Weaboos are considered a low context group where they express themselves directly with explicit verbal communication and quite degenerate behavior, especially in public areas where not everyone can embrace this wholeheartedly, such as in conventions, train stations, and malls.
I agree, Misha. Despite the differences in communication styles, Weeboos and Otakus have a thing in common where they emphasize on the Hofstede's collectivism. We can say they are both always operate in a group even though they are sometimes known as hikikomori, which is a form of severe social withdrawal. And despite that, Weeboos and Otakus will reach out to each other in order to indulge in their passion and hobbies together.
Talking about indulging, according to Michael Minkov, a Bulgarian sociologist, an indulgent society is one which values the satisfaction of human needs and desires. Weeboos and otakus definitely falls within this category because they focus more on their own happiness and have greater freedom over how they want to live their lives, which is to give themselves up in their own world of enjoyment and fun through manga, anime, cosplaying, without any care about what's happening surrounding them.
そうか。
Despite them living in their own world, their presence had effects on people globally. According to Our Culture magazine, the modern world culture has taken anime to its heart as it significantly impacted personal relationships through a shared love of anime. They can be their true self and find like-minded people, even romantic relationships. Some people are also proud and support those with such passion. People travel to Japan from all around the world to experience the things that are hyped by these otakus and weeboos.
Yep. While Otaku still carries some of its old baggage, mainly Weaboos, it's much more widely accepted today. Not only do they refer to J-pop culture fans, but also to people who are fans of other things like video games, music, and many more. In fact, it seems that being an otaku is becoming increasingly destigmatized as the years go on. But sadly, not for the Weaboos. Some people just seem to can't wrap their heads around the idea of it.
For weebos out there, don't be too sad because look at the bright side. Over the years, anime has acted as a bridge between Japanese culture and the people worldwide, creating relationship while finding various enthralling ways of introducing other countries to their unique cultures and traditions.
さてさてさて
Generally, being a weeb isn't a great thing. It carries the sense of not having respect for the culture the individual purports to love. It's a shallow, somewhat grotesque sort of fandom. I've certainly heard weeb used in friendly circles, but not so often. Contrary to that, otaku is an almost affectionate term, especially in the right crowds. It expresses a sense of passion and possession of one's fandom. If you love anime, manga, or even light novels and you just can't get enough of them, then you can proudly proclaim yourself an otaku.
Don't get us wrong, liking anime, manga, and Japanese culture is totally fine. What isn't fine is ignoring social boundaries in public and holding back your own character growth. Anime should be just an aspect of who you are. It shouldn't define your trait, nor should be the behavior of any social group, right, Hafiz?
Absolutely. And that wraps up our podcast for today. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you learned something new about weebs and otakus. Tune in next time for more. Anime
Anime
wa
wa
tanoshi.
noshi.
Mata
Mata ne.
ne.